Everything you need to start your trading day. Everything you need to start your trading day. Everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Monday's edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. I'm your co-host, Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Joel Elconin, along with Dennis, Dick, and Spencer. Good morning, traders and investors. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. We are here live on Monday with a little bit of an echo. Okay, we got rid of the echo, folks. Welcome. Good morning. We got the S&Ps trading up 3.5 points at 2855.75. Okay, we got rid of the echo, folks. Welcome. Good morning. We got the S&Ps trading up 3.5 points at 2855.75. Okay, we got rid of the echo, folks. Welcome. Good morning. We got the S&Ps trading up 3.5 points at 2855.75. Okay, we got rid of the echo, folks. Welcome. Good morning. We got the S&Ps trading up 3.5 points at 2855.75. Sure, go ahead. Okay, we got rid of the.
Are we on mute? Can I talk?
Welcome. Good morning. We got the S&Ps trading up 3.5.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick. Hope you are with us this morning. If you have to refresh, which I'll put in the chat, hey, refresh. But we are with you folks now. Joel, what's happening in the S&P futures this morning?
We are trading in the green as usual here, up 5.5 points. We have crude in the red by just a little bit, and gold and silver just hanging in there. Since we got a late start, let's go right to the news.
I guess you want to go start with Tesla, or you want to start with this M&A in the
do the M&A, because
we're
talking Tesla again here, and everybody's talking Tesla. Let's go to the M&A action there, Spencer.
Yeah, the news of the morning, I guess, is that Pepsi taking out SodaStream for $144 a share in cash.
Okay, so stock has been running and running and running. So I don't know, like, was this rumored before? Like, we had the Gap and Go back in early August. Was that off an earnings report, the Gap and Go, Spencer? If you go back just to the calendar in Benzinga, July 31st or August 1st, right in there, there's that big 15-point gap. I can't remember the reason for that, but I'm assuming that was earnings.
Yes.
Okay, so we had the earnings Gap and Go. This thing has been like straight up ever since. I mean, holy cow. How many green candles here, Joel? I'm just looking. There might be one red candle, looks like in the last 12 trading sessions.
Let's take a look here. I don't even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh. There's like 14 out of 15 there.
Yeah,
so.
14 out of 15 days this thing's been straight up, and now it gets bought out. So sure, it's just anybody who's fading this thing is absolutely annihilated, and they're never getting their money back, it doesn't look like, because soda looks like it's going to go off the board at 144. So incredible move here. Not a huge deal for Pepsi, but a sizable deal. What I find interesting, so soda obviously already, trading up at 144, so 143, 411. So the risk arbs are saying there's no risk to this deal not going through. They're already pricing it all in. That's just the time value of money basically left in it. But what's interesting is, we've seen multiple times where the acquirer gets hit. We really saw it, recently on in the recent few deals. It's interesting this morning is Pepsi is trading in the green. So maybe they like this deal. I mean, the stock have been running up. It's not a huge premium they're paying, and it's also not a huge deal for Pepsi. 3.2 billion, Spencer. Is that what the total cost is?
Yes.
And Pepsi's market cap, it's always good to go and look at, what percentage of market cap is. So if you go to Pepsi's market cap, which is 162 billion, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. So it's a pretty small deal. So I wouldn't expect, a huge sell-off, even if it was, still the same reasoning behind, they sell every acquire off, because it's just not a huge deal for them. But I guess they're plotting it. It's not trading in the red at all. It was a little bit on the initial number, or in the initial, when it broke, it traded into the 114 handle, but it's in the green now. So that's interesting.
All right. We'll see if it can follow through. Had a little bit hit after its earnings report. I'll give you the pre-market high. Your pre-market high comes in we're right at the highs of the session of 115.93, not up on a lot of volume. If you're looking for continued follow through here, 116.45, that was your August 7th high, and that was part of the gap down to earnings. So gap, if you're looking for more on this, 116.45, as I said, your August 7th high, your August 6th low, 116.90, 1640 to 1690. Next potential resistance for Pepsi Cola.
Jump over the Tesla news. This thing's getting annihilated again. It's now down 17 more points here. I mean, it's the New York Times article hangover here is really, you got some analysts giving some ratings changes, lowering price targets, obviously changing price. But I still think this was, when it started on Friday, this New York Times article was not good. I mean, he was saying how he's exhausted, basically working 120-hour work week. So people are worried not only about Tesla, they're worried about Musk. They're worried about his health. They're worried, maybe some of this Twitter stuff, he isn't thinking with a clear head anymore. So there's a lot of questions around it now. This is really, an impressive move since a 420 potential private takeover offer was put on the table 2 weeks ago. We're down almost 100 points from those highs. So at a certain point in time, I would think there's going to be a bounce, but wow, this is just in annihilation mode here right now.
Well, also we could go to what the analyst said about it, but
what they say.
Well, no, I mean JP Morgan with the price target lowering, and then also, and I mentioned it on the pre-market show, I guess like him and his girlfriend are breaking up or something. They unfollowed each other on Twitter.
Are they talking about that stuff now too?
Yeah.
He has a girlfriend? How does he have a girlfriend when he works 120 hours a week?
He doesn't have a girlfriend anymore because.
Well, you got no time for a girlfriend. He doesn't have time to sleep. There's no way he's got time for a girlfriend. How the hell is that? How's he got a girlfriend? I never knew that.
And he missed his brother's wedding too.
Come on, really?
No, he didn't miss the wedding. No, he didn't. He showed up and then he left right after. He showed up right before and he left right after.
We're starting bad rumors here.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm just telling you what what am I reading here? What's that thing they have in the grocery stores? Like when you're checking out.
Enquirer?
Yeah.
Are you getting your news from the National Enquirer now, Joel? Don't get your news from the National Enquirer, because we know, according to that, we were all supposed to be abducted by aliens 25 years ago. So.
Oh wait, there's someone knocking at my door. I'm not sure who it is. Wow, I don't know.
Price don't lie. We always say price don't lie. Holy cow! Down another 18. There's got to be a bounce in any place. If I'm looking for the first, if you're trying to pick a bottom, and I don't know if I suggest doing that, but 274, 273, we got down there multiple times in May. That's where it looks like it wants to head to. It's another 13 points below here. But if I was guessing, I would say where you had those 3-4 multiple lows in May might be as good of area as anywhere we're going to bounce. That's another 10 points down. I don't see why we can't test that area here today, though. We're in free fall here right now. We are going to bounce here eventually. The 420 would just annihilate shorts if they actually did figure out how to take it private. But the market is saying that there's no chance basically now. And they're not only saying that, they're worried about Musk. They're worried about his health from that New York Times article. They're worried about his personal life apparently too here, according to the National Enquirer. But anyways, wow, this is annihilation.
All right. Well, couple things here, as I actually was humiliated on the show when the news first came out, and back on August the 2nd and August 3rd, and it was just saying this is the craziest thing ever, and it jammed it right in my face and went to 387.46, and now we're 100 points lower. I guess then, for good reason, Dennis, you're not putting any emphasis. I'm going to put a little emphasis on this 286.13 low. That was the low on July 30th, and
1 point.
Yeah, that's 1 point. I mean, like, once again, he gone.
He's 285.96 now. This thing's going down so hard, it's like a cut into hot night.
Okay, Dennis, what if you needed to buy 5,000 shares right now?
Oh, yeah, you start nibbling in. I mean, if I was short this thing, and I just got, especially if you were shorted after, and we talked about this the day after the show, and the thing was up at 380. I was saying, I was starting to turn bullish when the thing was 330, 340, and then the whole private thing came. The private thing came, and we said it on the show that day. I'm like, it makes more sense as a short case up here right now, because what's your upside? When it was 380, it's like 420, it's 40 points upside. And I mean, there's a lot of other issues here with, potential SEC investigation, this financing thing. There was a lot of things that we didn't know yet, but it just like, it kind of capped your upside with this potential take private stuff. And, that was actually a win for the shorts. And now with, everything else happening here, your upside is definitely not capped now. I mean, if 420 came out, you got 113 points or 130 points there now. But I think the market's just speaking, and they're saying there's absolutely no way. So I don't know. I did not see a fall like this coming, but also we didn't, couldn't predict that there's going to be this crazy New York Times article where the guy's basically complaining that he has no life and he's working 120 hours.
Why would he do that article?
I don't. Well, the market's challenging whether he's thinking with a clear head. And I think if you're not, and they were even saying this Huffington Post article over the weekend saying if he's really working 120 hours, not sleeping, you cannot think clearly on that little bit of sleep. You can't function correctly. So there's a lot of things to be worried about here right now with Tesla. That being said, it's still got the story a little bit. There's still that underlying love for it. So I'm definitely not shorting it down here now. I mean, if you're shorting it now, you're so late to the party. I mean, they're at 380 a week and a half, go 100 points down from there now. I think you're way late to the party to short it. And I think you're late to the party to sell it too. I think eventually you're going to get a here, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to continue to go lower. I've never been a fan because of the valuation issues, but you couldn't argue with the price action 2 weeks ago after the earnings report. It was this thing would still be up at 350 right now if this 420 tweet would have never came. It might have even been higher than that. It could have even been argued because the momentum was on its side. It wanted to go. It had the Saudi investment right before that. If he wouldn't have tweeted that funding secured thing, it could have even been higher than 350, 360 right now. It's all because of that tweet.
I have a question.
All right.
I have a question.
Snowballed.
All right. Let's say hypothetically the SEC does bring charges. Hypothetically, they bring charges against Elon Musk or whatever, or it goes down that road. How liable are these banks and all these people who had buy ratings on the stock? Oppenheimer who upgraded their stock, their rating to outperform on August 2nd.
How liable are they?
Yeah.
They're never liable on a ratings change. I mean, you got to read the fine print on all that. Sure, it's investment advice, but you're signing up for something. It's still an opinion. So I've never heard of an analyst getting sued because they gave a bad recommendation.
Okay.
If that is the case, let me know. Maybe there is, and maybe somebody didn't dot the I's and cross the T's. I'm sure there's a case out there somewhere, but I don't think any analyst is liable for making a bad call. But how much just saying is these are just analysts chasing price. Who all upgraded it up there? I mean, or who all changed their price target and raised them? I mean, that's the one thing about the analyst ratings is some of them are very good, but the lemmings that just chase price all the time. I mean, there's got to be a few of them that you can point out. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, that, okay, now you're going to raise your price target up because the stock went up 100 points in your face and your price target looks stupid. I mean, so you're making a good point. I just don't think you're ever liable or anything like that. And from a legal perspective.
Spencer, did you say liable or reliable?
Liable, not reliable. No, not that.
Okay.
I would hope they're not liable from a bad call. I mean, everybody's going to make good calls and bad calls. But again, you got to take the analyst ratings just with a grain of salt because, some of these guys are doing great stuff. There's always a contrarian guy. There's actually, just to tell you, there's always somebody trying to make a name for themselves. Did you see Apple today, Spencer? The rating changed from, and I don't even know this firm. It's from New. I can't read my own writing. I think it's New State Research. Did you see this one?
No, I didn't.
They downgraded it to sell today. They're like the only analyst on the street with like $165 price target. Apple. So there's an analyst right there just trying to make a name for themselves. They're not on the board. Nobody's really paying attention, but it's a rating change.
Yeah, maybe they read that article. Was it Walter Mossberg over the weekend who said Maybe it was him that said they haven't had a transformative product in like 10 years, which is, doesn't need to.
That was the argument.
Don't
back
need him
when
to
the stock
point
was
that out.
$95.
Yeah.
Like 100 points ago, they were saying, well, this is an iPhone company and it's not going to last. Well, you know what? They make the things that you have to upgrade them every 2-3 years because something goes or this or that. Everything is planned obsolescence. How do you say that word?
Obsolescence. my iPhone 5, I think I have, is so slow. It's painful.
They don't last more than 2 or 3 years. They're smart.
Yeah,
I mean, they could make those things last 10, 20 years. Like old TVs just last 50 years. I mean, my parents still have one of those old like TVs from 1965.
Yeah,
still works.
It's all software updates. It slows down your phone. It's a conspiracy.
They do it intentionally. I think so. I think you have to. I mean, that's kind of the way the world has come to. If you make an iPhone or a phone that lasts, and it's awesome for 20 years. I mean, you're not going to sell more phones. It's the same thing with cars, everything. That's the way they do it now. They don't make things to last because they got to sell more. And they're smart about it. And I tell you, they got the contracts. My contract comes up every 3 years, at my carrier. And I can get a deal then on a new phone if I sign a new contract. And what happens? After about 2.5, 3 years, my phone starts to slow down or there's something cooler and better and I upgrade. And boom, Apple's making that money there again. So every 2 or 3 years, they probably get $800 to $1,000 from me for a new phone. And not only me, then my wife's got a new phone. They got 2 iPads. Apple's making money off of a lot of people doing a lot of, and just upgrading, just buying the same things. But, they can make that argument all the time that there hasn't been, any new product. They're working on some stuff. Don't kid yourself. They're going to be a leader in the AI. There's been rumors they're going to do a car, and then there's not. We don't know about that. But
haven't heard car in a while. Have not heard
I
it.
think they've kind of maybe scrapped that idea.
All right, I got just real quick, since I made mincemeat out of my 86 low. You just made a low at 83.50, and when you're going back and having these kind of moves, I like to go to the monthlies. And your June low was 83.84, so there's another perspective. And then under that, that's where Dennis was talking about the 273.5, 274 area. It's too far away for us. I just don't think it gets there.
Points though is too far away. You don't think it sees it? I think it sees it today.
I don't think so.
It just fell 4 points as we started talking about. It's down 21. It can go down 30. I think we test it. I think we very well could test this today. 274. I could almost even feel like making a bet with you. It just has to kiss it. But I think we test it. I think I would be a buyer there though. I think we bounce there. So just short term bounce. I'm not turning into Tesla. Like long-term invest portfolio, I believe in the story all of a sudden because Musk is losing his marbles. I'm not going to change my opinion. It's still a valuation issue here for me, but holy cow. At a certain point in time, shorts are just going to be like anybody who shorted this in the last week is laughing all the way to the bank. There's going to be some covering here eventually. And this thing hasn't stopped going down. Is there any other headlines just besides like follow through a couple analysts? We're down 22 more points and he broke up with his girlfriend. Is there other headlines out there? Help us out here because it's crazy.
Don't act like that's the reason why. Okay. I mean,
yeah, he broke up with his girlfriend. That's down 22 points.
Oh my gosh! Just think if they tweet that they're back together or something, it could be up 40.
Where's the 120 hours coming from if they get back together?
All right. Enough of Tesla here. I only saw one earnings report here. Estee Lauder, EL. They reported this morning. Let's get EL, Estee Lauder.
Yeah, 61 cents versus a 56-cent estimate. Sales 3.3 versus $3.25 billion. So beats on the top of the bottom line in the Q4. They gave some guidance in terms of restructuring costs that were lower than what were previously given. But that's all I got.
It's been kind of wild pre-market for this. I saw it lower than this. It's on its way back here. What was the pre-market low, Joel?
Pre-market low 128 even, and that exceeded your August 10th low by 81 cents. That was 128.81.
These retailers on the pullbacks here, especially the ones that have been in the gutter, they're kind of like, and obviously there's some like Dillard's that, really didn't bounce back. Macy's didn't bounce back much either. Some of these other ones have. It's like, some of them are really doing well. Some of them are not. It's kind of a tricky retail market to invest in there. This is one that was in the gutter, almost kissed that lower. You said just slightly, went below it, and now we're back. I mean, we saw this, not that Deere has anything to do with Estee Lauder, But Deere in the pre-market on Friday was getting annihilated. It was down like $4 or $5. It turned around on a dime. It opened and it just rallied all day. And I don't know if you're going to see that here with Estee Lauder or not, but it was an impressive turnaround story there for Deere. So they're buying the dip. They were buying the dip on that one, and they look like they're buying the dip on Estee Lauder this morning.
And just going back to that Deere, I mean, on the initial headline, the news, they really smashed it down to 128. But when the real liquidity came in and cooler heads prevailed, it only took out Wednesday's low by about 50 cents. Wednesday's low, 32.83, went to 32.32. Boom, turned around, closed at 140.59. Big volume day as well. So sometimes like the pre-market action, like what's happening in Tesla today, you see levels that you don't really get to touch during the regular session.
Okay, so Matt and Beyond is helping us out. Back to the Tesla story. There was another headline here which is not helping. This is an exclusive from Reuters. The Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund, a Tesla CEO, I'm just reading it from Reuters, Elon Musk has said could help him fund a $72 billion deal, is now in talks to invest in aspiring rival Lucid Motors. So it looks like, the money that they were saying, could potentially go to Tesla in the private funding is maybe going to go to a competitor of Tesla. So this is the reason we're probably really getting annihilated here this morning, because now they're probably saying, no way, now you don't even have, it looks like the Saudi funding. So, it doesn't look like any way that 420 is going to happen.
Wow.
That's headline. Thanks, Matt. I did not notice that headline. We're obviously on the live radio show, so we can't catch everything. But that looks like the story to me, not the girlfriend, which we were joking about in the first place. So, And then you got Lobster saying the JP Morgan. So we might as well just give you the color behind it. Lobster, thanks for posting it. JP Morgan analyst Ryan Brinkman reduced his price target to underweight. Tesla lowering his price target back to 195 from 208, telling investors that he's reverting back to valuing shares on the basis of fundamentals alone. Brinkman says that his interpretation of events lead him to believe that funding was not secured for going private transaction, nor was there any formal proposal. Wow, yeah, we know that. So I don't know, the analyst isn't telling us anything new. That is just basically chasing price to me, or at least coming back down again, to underweight.
It's kind of kicking a wounded dog, isn't it?
Well, that's what they do. I mean, that's what the analysts all do, don't they? When you have a stock that reports bad earnings and it's 4 downgrades the next day, it's what they do. They kick you when you're down. And that's just chasing price. We know it seems like 3 out of 4 analysts are very prone to doing that. There is the outliers always. There's some people, like we've had Michael Pachter on the show multiple times, and he sticks to his thesis for a long time, and he's stubborn and he goes with it. I mean, he's been bearish Netflix forever, and he admits when he's wrong too. That's why I love Michael Pachter. He's admitted he's got this one wrong, but he's still not willing to come in here and go to a buy rating on it and change. All of a sudden, because I was wrong, I'm just going to flip it and go to buy. Like who was the Wells analyst that did that with Nvidia there last week? Right before the report?
Yeah. Did he take the
sell to buy right before the report? That was the top. He topped it. And now it's 20 points down from there.
I think some people were talking about that in the chat as well. But, I mean, that's what we try and do here on the Pre-Market Prep Show. We try and, take the price action what's going on where there's a lot of emotion. We try to take the fundamentals, information from the company, and then whatever's out there on Twitter and the analysts and whatnot, and put it all together and try and help you put it together a tradable framework. S&P still hanging in there, up 4 points here at 56.25. Current high is 28.60. I didn't do real deep into the numbers. I'll give you one good target on the upside here if you're looking for more. January 30th high, when we were bouncing around up at the all-time highs, that was 2866.75. We've been inching our way up there. And on January 29th, of course, the front month contract back then was March. Our all-time high was 2887.25, and our all-time closing high was on the 26th of January at 2883.25. Don't think we'll see that today, but there's some levels on the upside here if the S&Ps can continue this amazing rally.
JV Spec is saying that the new CFA course will include crypto. So I'm not familiar with that. Interesting. Obviously, I've got a CFA background. I've actually, believe it or not, I've contributed to some of the curriculum in CFA courses in the past. I'm not quite as involved with CFA Institute as I was before. I'm busy doing a lot of things, doing radio shows, trading and stuff, but I've actually contributed to some of that curriculum, so I kind of know how it works in the background. I'll say, like, why not? Why not? We don't know if this is, all of a sudden, every analyst is going to be talking crypto all of a sudden because they're including the CFA curriculum. But I mean, I think you got to talk about it. It's it's been around here now in the news, especially in the mainstream media, for a couple of years. So I think it's important, probably part to at least, talk about and having the curriculum right now, because it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. And I don't think crypto is just completely going away. I've always argued that the 1,000 of them out there, how do you know which one's going to be the winner at the end of it, even if you do believe in crypto, which I'm still skeptical on whether I believe in it at all. I know, like Peter Schiff says, they're all pets.com. I think 99 out of 100 of them are pets.com. I just don't know if they all are. And I don't know if Bitcoin is the one. And that's why, I haven't invested in crypto. I don't know how to value it. I've always said, some people say it's a zero. That's how you value it. I don't know if I buy that, though. I've said in the past, I think there is a case in some countries where, have inflation problems, currency problems. Maybe there is a case where, you have a cryptocurrency that takes over and can, I can see the case for it. It's just, I don't know if Bitcoin is the coin, and that's why I don't want to invest in it.
Actually, I don't know if I have it in front of me here in my notes from Barron's over the weekend, but, Barron's went with the cover story, and it's how blockchain technology is starting to emerge. I didn't get into the details of the entire article. Of course, blockchain technology is different from Bitcoin. Have not pointed out that before. So, just if you want to read about the blockchain technology and its potential uses, good articles there. I got a Texas, Mike. Blockchain is the technology and it's the function. So we'll see what happens with crypto.
And I've read some articles going both ways on blockchain technology, because everybody wants to say that they don't believe in Bitcoin, but they like the technology of blockchain. I'm not 100% convinced, because I've read some stuff on blockchain that it's actually not that efficient at all. It's neat, that obviously the system can kind of run itself, but if you're always basing, and it takes so many, to run it itself, if it's using up this much energy to do it, especially in the case of Bitcoin, I mean, I don't know how efficient it is at all. So I still challenge whether blockchain technology is here to stay, because everybody seems to say blockchain technology is the future. I challenge that still. But I'm not researched enough on it to give a hard opinion. I'm just saying I'm not 100% convinced that blockchain technology is here to stay. So in any regard here, it's still the argument is, and Joel's making a good point, if you're investing in Bitcoin, it's not necessary that, you're getting blockchain too, because blockchain is obviously is just the technology that Bitcoin runs on. So it's not the same thing. If a lot of people invest in Bitcoin saying, well, blockchain's the future, best way to play it is Bitcoin. I'm not sure that is the case there either. So lots of crypto. There's still lots to be determined here. I mean, it's had a wild ride. It's hard to value. I mean, the 6,000 area is still holding. So that is good news for the bulls. That is the only way what you can use really when you're looking at crypto now is technicals, because I can't really say, you can value, you have cash flow, you don't have anything like that to value it off of. So you got technicals. That's pretty much what you got. And I would say as long as it's above 6,000, there's still that hope that, you can start to mount another rally, and you have the potential forming for a double bottom here even right now. So I would say you have hard support here right now between 5,800 and 6,000. As long as that holds, I'm not that bearish Bitcoin at these prices. I said that before too when it was 6,200. I was like, I almost want to buy it, but I can't bring myself to do it because I'm not a crypto trader. And ran to 8,000. It's back at that level again. So if you were looking at me and saying, what are you going to do here on Bitcoin? And you had to make a trade, I would probably buy it at this level as opposed to sell it. If it got below 5,500, though, I'd give myself a little bit of wiggle room. I would definitely stop out. I don't want to be long this thing at all if it's below those lows of the move, which is what, 5,800, Joel?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the SIBO contract right now, and I'll just give you some monthly lows here. Sure. June was 57.67, and then August was 58.50. So, and then you had a 6,000 low in February. So that's
call 5,800.
Yeah, 6,000. Come on, Dennis. I mean,
but where would I put my stop? So you're not gonna stop if you stopped at 6,000. It came down there. You still got lows below there. I think you're safely through all those lows at like 5,700, though, correct? Because it trades them up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would stop out probably like 5,700. If I was buying, where is today? 65?
Let's call it 6,400, 64.
6,400. If I was trying from the long side, I'd probably stop up below 5,700 if I really believed in the story. I don't believe in the story. I still think it's going lower, but I think there's still that level there. So you got an argument as a technical trade here, just a trade.
All right, and I just want to point out for support, you always got to look at resistance as well. And to me, couple highs right around 6,600. We got up to 6,505 today. This is kind of like deja vu all over again. You had that bump in July when you came up off the low, stalled at 6,600, 6,700. Then you had the breakthrough to 8,400. You had the SEC stuff. So I'm still keeping an eye on that 6,600 on a closing basis. It gets out of there. You got some room on the upside.
8:30. Let's go look at imbalances here. They just came on. See if there's anything that we see. Gee, it's normal 100,000 shows sell imbalance, which is every single day. Pfizer usually has a sell imbalance in the morning, which is absolutely incredible because the stock goes up every day. So it seems like it starts at the lows and runs to the highs. Pfizer, you've just seen this breakout here in old pharma. I mean, Eli Lilly, since they announced its spinoff of their animal health unit, that has been straight up for 15 points. Merck has been flying here. Merck is, I believe, the biggest and I've said this for a lot on the show. I believe it's my largest holding in my investment portfolio. So it's been a good one for me. I don't know what I have. I think even in my investment portfolio, like I said, I have over 100 stocks. I think it might even be 5% of my investment, which is a lot. You know, you've got some little small ones that are like 0.1%, like AT&T. But then you've got the Mercs, which, and obviously I was acquiring a lot of the stock in the 30s back in the day just on valuation when everybody hated them. And it's been a good one. It's come back. Pfizer, my average cost basis on Pfizer, I think, is $14 because I was buying this back during the financial crisis, saying I don't think Pfizer is going out of business. And obviously I was right. It's still off its all-time highs, though, which, believe it or not, all these stocks, and you look at Lilly, you look at Merck, and you look at Pfizer, and you say, wow, these things are making all-time highs. You didn't bring your chart back far enough because if you go back to 2000, it wasn't only a tech bubble. It was also a pharmaceutical bubble there, too. And Pfizer back in the year 2000, what was the all-time high, Joel?
The all-time high was $50.04.
So you're 19 years later here now. So it goes to show when you pay P's of 60 and 70 and they don't work out or their growth starts to slow, it can take a long time to get your money back. 20 years later, you're still trying to get your money back there in Pfizer. And Merck, I remember, was what, 95?
Yeah, Merck got close to that magic $100 level. No, not quite.
What year was that? In 2000?
Yeah, 2000, it got to 91.50.
91.50. And what about Lilly? Is Lilly's close to all-time highs?
I think so. No. Lilly made a double monthly top here at 109. 109.
You're getting close to all-time highs. 19 years later, you're getting close to the all-time. 18 years later, I guess, not doing my math right. 18 years later, you're just finally starting to get your money back in Eli Lilly if you bought those tops. 18 years. It's like, a quarter of a lifetime. Long time.
I
guess we shouldn't talk about it, but I remember Bob Bright made a whole bunch of money trading Eli Lilly versus Merck. Remember that back in the day? Was it Merck? He had the Lilly on, and there was some bad news on Lilly. He was short Lilly and long Merck, and had a really good trade. So anyway, shout out to Bob if he's listening. I know he had a good trade in there. Okay. Jump over
excuse me, Dennis. I just want to say one thing for our longer term Pfizer investors. We're climbing into the $42 handle. You had a pair of monthly highs. This is back in 2002. One at 42.25 and one at 42.56. So if you're looking for your next major resistance level, maybe there'll be some size at 42.50 for your intermediate traders there that have been holding on this since 2002.
I mean, and from a valuation perspective, a lot of these companies are still cheap. I mean, what's the multiple on Pfizer here? Sure, it was expensive in 2000, but it's been 18 years like trying to come back to these levels, and now it's coming back on value investors, not growth investors, because it's not there. But I mean, Pfizer's trading with a PE of 11. Merck is trading with a PE of, wow, it shows 140 because it probably had a weird report last quarter, but it's obviously a lot lower than that. Do you have the forward PE, Spencer, in front of you from Benzinga on Merck and Lilly? I don't have my
I
system
don't
up.
have it in front of me, but I can try to track it that real fast.
I'm just
for
curious.
Merck, you want Merck and Eli?
Yeah, forward
Okay.
PE. I'm seeing the current PE, which is out to lunch because the quarter was
16 on Merck. You wanted
16.
You wanted Eli. 19.6.
Okay, so Pfizer's still the cheapest of the big three, but obviously, there's some different things. I mean, Merck's got some good drugs kicking too, and we know Lilly, has some, obviously the animal health unit spinning off, and they've got some other stuff in the pipeline too. But I mean, these stocks, value investing, I think from the long run, I still like value investing. When your stocks are trading. When I bought Lilly originally at a 6.5% dividend, I bought it at $30. 6.5% dividend. It was trading with a P of like 8. I'm like, eventually these things are going to turn it around. They're going to come back into favor. And here it's 105. I sold Lilly, and I wish I wouldn't. I sold it in the 80s. It was more than a double for me though, and I had it for like 3 years. But I wish I would have rebought it. I had chances, and obviously it's a lot higher than that now. But long-term investing, a Warren Buffett approach still works a lot of times.
And also, I was just looking at some other stocks. I mean, Abbott Labs has come back, not quite the rally. I mean, I think that the one that was dueling with Merck, or was that Bristol Myers?
I have all these.
Yeah.
I should analyze my portfolio because I got Abbott, I got AbbVie, Biogen, Celgene. I am like just loaded. And you know what? It was that book, I read way back in the day when I was in high school, I think it was, or at least, university. And it was Boom, Bust, and Echo from, I think it was David Foote, was it that wrote that? Anyways, it was Boom, Bust, and Echo, and was telling about the aging population and demographics and how good, investing in drug companies is going to be. And obviously, there's been some downturns, in there. But that's the main reason why, I've always been a big fan of investing a lot of money in healthcare and drugs, because they have an aging population. And drugs aren't going away. It keeps people alive. They're getting better. They're coming with different things, not going away here. And that's why I own almost all the big guns. So if you looked at my invest portfolio, I think I'm probably 20 to 25% healthcare, which is obviously an overweight, but it's worked for me.
Right, and just hope that government keeps paying for the drugs for the
That's
lot
a
of people.
wild card,
Yeah.
Trump pricing. That's the one thing about chasing it here now. We haven't heard much from Trump on drug pricing here, but those are short-term factors. Still, even if they put some caps on different things, I think some of that stuff, it's difficult to, obviously just cap. And it's not like these things are making a killing all the time. People will pretend, people will act like they're making a killing. But a lot of these companies, the R&D that they put in, they need money to do research. So they've got to make some money, or you're not going to get new drugs. So you can't just say, I'm not going to allow any of these drug companies to make money because they're making too much money off everybody. Well, the downside is they don't have money to put in R&D to come up with new drugs to cure other diseases. So you've got to think about that as well.
Lobster brought up your book, the David Foote book.
I got his name right.
Yeah.
One of the first books. I think I might have almost been in high school when I read that.
Is that the last?
It made a lot of sense. Boom, Bust, and Echo.
Is that the last book you read?
I don't read a lot of books. No, I read a lot of trading books when I first started. I'm not a big. I went. Here's a story. I went to Chapters, a bookstore in Canada there. And I was just looking through all the trading books, and I was trying I haven't read a trading book in a long time. I was looking through, and it's always interesting. You see, some people we've had on the show, their books are sitting there. So it's like, oh yeah, we've had him on the show, or we've had him on the show. But I just I couldn't find anything I wanted to read. I was looking, and there just wasn't something that just caught my eye. And obviously there's a lot of books there. And I looked around for about a half an hour and I couldn't find anything I wanted to read. Didn't buy one, but I was thinking I should get a book, read a new trading book or something. Maybe there's something, maybe I should have bought Crypto Investing for Dummies or something. I saw that one there.
I have two questions. I don't know
anything about crypto investing, but
I have two questions about the Dennis. One, what is a bookstore? And two, I thought
I know exactly. There's tumbleweeds in there, Spencer.
I thought the last book you read was Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I was a fan of Clifford the Big Red Dog. That was a good cartoon.
Okay.
Joel, you read any trading books still?
No. The last book I read on my vacation was called The Booster, and it was about the Fab Five and the Michigan scandal. That's the last one I read. I should have taken you up on that Tesla bet. I'm kicking myself right here. 288.50.
Coming back at bottom, Joel.
Yes.
Get in there.
I could have. You would have wanted some ridiculous.
I kind of like it down here too, though. I wanted it to get down. I was, looking at that level to buy it, though. So I definitely don't want to short it. at 288 when I'm looking to buy it at 276 just for a bounce trade though. But I'm interested in it here. I think this is washout day. I think this is capitulation day. I'm going to say right now, I feel like this is going to be the capitulation day on Tesla. I think we're going to see a short-term bottom here, and we're going to see a reversal, and I think it could even close. Now I'm going to say green. We're down 17 points, but I think wherever we are, I think we're going to bottom here somewhere between 9:30 and 10 a.m. today. So I think the bottom is going to be, at least the short-term bottom is today. I think
you think that's going to be above or below the pre-market low?
What's pre-market low?
82.29.
Say that or not, I don't know. All I say is I think you got lots of. I think you have lots of buyers down at 280. I might actually try this for a bounce trade here today. So I'm gonna look between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. I think you want to see some life though. I don't want to catch it when it's going down. I want to see it when it starts to turn a little bit and start to show some life. That's when I want to strike. And that's what I used to always do wrong. And you've actually helped me with that. Is the stock starts going down, you're like, well, it's going to bounce at this level. And you just try to randomly call the bottom. Wait till it bottoms and starts to show a little bit of life and then strike, as opposed to trying to be the guy to catch the bottom and be wrong multiple times. Obviously, everybody trying to catch the bottom in the last 2 weeks is wrong. So let it show some life. Let it turn around and, not necessarily make a green candle, but at least have a reversal on the day. Like at least, bounce like 10, 15 points off those lows and then try to come in, but not come in. That's how I'd like to approach it.
All right. Well, we'll see here. Obviously, I don't know if you'll see any tweets today or anything along those, but once you get 6 points off a pre-market low, 282.29, which coincides with your June low, shorts are maybe trying to scratch their head a little bit, trying to buy it, on a pullback here. I think you'll see more bids. Before they were just offering it, pound it, hitting bids, pounded. Now you might get a little bit of a turnaround here. Tesla Motors.
Spinner's got the book there, though, and that is one I have read. That Spinner, William O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks. That's a good one. And Gil Morales helped write that, didn't he? Wasn't Gil Morales in on that book?
I don't know for sure. I know Gil's
involved with William O'Neill for a long time. Obviously, William O'Neill passed away, correct?
No.
Is he still around? I thought William O'Neill passed away.
No, he's still around.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry. I didn't mean to bury you, William, if you're listening. But Gil was involved with that, wasn't he? Who was involved with Bill?
He was for a long time.
We've had Gil Morales on the show multiple times. I mean, Gil's great. He knows stuff, man. If you want to follow somebody on Twitter and that follows and he thinks outside the box, like he's a technical trader, but he's always thinking ahead. I love Gil's stuff. So, and William O'Neill, that's a great book. And it was kind of like reinventing it a little bit, like, buying stocks that are strong, kind of selling stocks that are weak. It was always like the contrarian, and he's more of a Momo guy. Get going on your side and go. That's a great book, How to Make Money in Stocks. Simple and easy to read and just very informative. So I'll give a shout out on that one.
Okay. All right. I'd say it'd be pretty hard to get Bill on the show.
Anything that Gil Morales writes, that stuff's gold too. He's solid.
All right, maybe we'll try and track Gil down here for a little bit later in the week here. All right, so we did it on balances. We mentioned that one rating. Was there any other significant ratings of note?
Nike double upgrade.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let's talk Nike.
2 upgrades, so not like the sell to the buy, but 2 separate upgrades here. Spencer, details.
Piper and Susquehanna. Susquehanna upgrading Nike neutral to positive, raising their price target to $93. Piper upgrading neutral to overweight, raising the price target again $93.
I like this on pullbacks. I think Nike's eventually going to be $100. We consolidated here for 3 years between 2015 and 2018, basically between $50 and $65. We finally broke out this year, 2018. It's tried to come back in a couple of times. It cannot. It had the gap up after the earnings. It came back in about half of it and then just finds the bottom again. It seems like every time this pulls back, it's got underneath demand here now. We're 81. We're a ways away from there, but I think eventually we're going to see Nike in triple digits. So I'm a buyer pullbacks in the Nikester.
81. Yeah, 81.83. That's your pre-market high, and only trading 30 cents off that. In order to fill the gap from yesterday, you need to get down to 80.44. So if you are shorting this thing early, looking for a pullback, 80.50 could be a possible area. Still have not made a new all-time high. So if you want to be, you want to try and sell the new all-time high, 81.88. That was your high on August 9th. So Nike moving in on all-time highs.
Qualcomm catching an upgrade from Rosenblatt, QCOM. That stock's just slowly keeps crawling its way higher here too. Ever since we had Sean on the show, Sean called the bottom. He was right there and was like, this is my pick. It was like $58. The next day, it had the big gap up there, and it's continued up here ever since. So Sean Udall was all over this one. I do own Qualcomm in my long-term investment portfolio as well. Sticking with it just because of the value trade.
Any kind of target on that, or is that one you're going to keep for generations?
My original target was where they were going to take it out at $82 when AVGO. So I would say if it got back up near 80, 81, I'd probably sell it. So that was kind of my idea there originally when I went to Qualcomm. I had bought it obviously with its M&A, but I also bought it on that same when I bought, I think at 61. I'd bought because I didn't mind the value. I said if the deal doesn't go through, I think Qualcomm still got value here. The funny thing is, it went down like $48 after that, so I was proven very wrong. But I held on to it because I still thought it was a value trade, and I didn't mind owning it. I was getting paid a nice dividend. I was over, I think, 4.5% at that point in time. So, and it's come back obviously for me a long ways, but it's still one that I kind of was thinking 80 all along. So I'm sticking with it.
All right, folks, they're asking about the Micron here.
I think it bottomed.
Yeah, 45.62.
I feel like it bottomed on Friday. I said it would. I thought it was going to go to 45. I had an order out there kicking myself. I was adding more to the investment portfolio there. And in my long-term investment portfolio, I put the orders and I don't look at it. I put them long-term. And I love that 45 level. I think it was 45.10. And I was adding more to my long-term holding position. It didn't get there. Only got down to 45.62. But then turned around very hard. And that's kind of like a turnaround. They bought it right off the bat. And then it started to reclaim and actually closed green. So on a day where we obviously saw NVIDIA destroyed and we saw there was obviously other concerns, applied materials destroyed, a lot of semis were really getting whacked. This one shrugged it off, and I think it just oversold. So I think, am I saying, it's turned around and this is the absolute bottom? No, but I think it's a short-term bottom. I think you could see this thing try to crawl its way back up to $50. Not today, but over the course of the next couple of weeks, I think that's where it maybe wants to go back to. It's having a nice day here this morning as well. I think you got short-term potential bottom, and I think it reversed there on this one. Long-term, it's a valuation issue for me. I'm still sticking with it.
I just alert our investors, traders here that before you made that big run up to 64.66, that was in May. You had 3 monthly lows in the 45 handle, 45.95, 45.31, and 45.33. And you reached 45.62 on Friday. So a lot of support here. If you're still not convinced, but you want to get it on a pullback, see if you get a chance to buy this, the 46 handle. Coming back on the upside, 47.36 was yesterday's high. We are trading above that. Would like to see that level hold early in the session. We're only 13 cents above it. Your 2-day high, your shorter term traders, your 2-day high is 48.31.
And I would say that China stocks too, a lot of those bottom 2 days ago. They tried to come back in a couple of days ago. They really didn't come in that much. I think you saw the low in BABA. I think you saw the low. You just can go over FXI. Had a nice day on Friday. They're not trading up here in the green, but FXI obviously reversed and came back. It was actually very weak early on Friday and came all the way back and closed at the highs. I like seeing that too. I think the Chinese stocks bottom there as well. And it's all rotation to a certain extent too. I mean, when something starts going up, other things going down. You know what else? I think short-term bottom was gold. It had a really nice day on Friday, turning around and starting to get back up there again. So if I'm looking, gold, GLD, you can say 111 was hard bottom. Now it's trading up here. The miners themselves, too, have been annihilated. They've been going straight down. They finally got a green candle on Friday. Friday after hours, somebody was buying JNUG. They still are here this morning. That's a triple long gold ETF for the miners. And then there's also GDXJ, which is a junior one, which would chase that as well. That is trading up too. I have a pair trade on. I'm short GDXJ against GDX, but that's just an overnight thing. So that's going to be short term, and I'll take that off today. But I think gold short term bottomed here.
When you're talking about after hours, what catches your attention? 5,000 shares, 10,000 shares, 15,000 shares.
Not on an ETF. There was millions of shares trading on that JNUG after hours. Go check it out, JNUG. There was just an absolute monster buyer that would not go away after hours. I mean, this has already traded 393,000 shares this morning. There is just people. Gold's hardly up here this morning, but they are buying the miners. So look out for that to continue. That trade can continue here this morning. After hours, there was just nonstop buying in JNUD. GDXJ would obviously chase that because they're both junior miners. One's triple, one's not. So you're going to see buyers emerge into the GDXJ that are probably shorting the JNUG, buying the GDXJ and doing the ARB. I would do that as well. So, but there was just buyers in there. Things, I mean, have been going straight down. That JNUG was $12 a week and a half ago. Got down to $7, $7.22. So, things are just getting overdone here. This was capitulation selling. And, I've been bearish gold, and I'm still long-term bearish gold, but nothing goes straight down. So I'm saying there's a short-term trade here from to the upside here, and not only in gold, but in the miners. So I think it continues here today. I think you could find a bid in the miners, and I'll actually be looking to buy some of these miners maybe here today for short-term trades.
Okay, Matt and Beyond is bringing up a downgrade here of Constellation Brands, and holy mackerel, that thing has just been annihilated. I don't know if this thing's too late to the party. They thought that oh my gosh. What did they do? They thought that the Canopy Growth, that investment, is that the day that they got?
That's what's been killing
That's been the catalyst.
They put $4 billion investment into a $5 billion company, and the market hated it. I mean, the stock was trading up at 222. That investment came out and boom, they annihilated it for 10%. So was it deserved? Maybe. That was way too much to pay for that, in my opinion. So anyways, market hated it. Market still. Now you're getting late to the party here, though. Like, you're downgrading it now. This is 3 days after the event. We're trading at 200. It's trying to hold that level. 198 was the low on Friday. So we'll see if it holds there. I think if you're coming here selling STZ now, I think you're late to the party, though.
All right. Dennis mentioned that 198.85 low in August. It matched that. Oh, no, not quite here. That low was 204.60. So you have not spent much time under $200 since September. September last year, you bottomed at 197.32. And then your nice number, your better number so far, was your October low of 198.44. Here we are, although not even taking that out yet. So see if you find some buyers at 200 here in Constellation Brands. And just when we were doing the chip talk, we didn't mention AMD, which is really, Dennis, been hanging in there,
doing some work, getting me turning bullish again.
Oh, turning bullish.
Yep.
Poked his head above $20 three times. Only had one close, and that was on last Tuesday. You closed at 20.02. So, man, oh, man. Consolidation station here.
I think it's consolidating to go higher. So
yeah.
I said after, got up to $20, I said the short-term top is in. It went the next day, it went up to 2018. So I was wrong. It went a little bit higher than that, but then it came back into 18. I'm going to change that here today. I'm thinking AMD actually is looking like it wants to break out here to me. So I would say I would lean definitely, if I was buying this, I don't want to own it below $18, lower the move. So if I was buying this today, I would stop up below 18. But I think if you're buying it here this morning, I love the action from Friday and a lot of the semis. And this is obviously, a chip stock, so it's not like exactly like Micron. But, we look at Micron, you looked at a lot of those on Friday and they turned around. This is turning, it looks similar to me. It looks like it washed out Friday morning. And I think it's doing some work here to try to go higher. So takes out those highs of the move. I love it. So at least from a technical perspective. So 2028 can take that out. I think you're off to the race there again. I like the setup here. I think the stock could go higher.
1077 was your May low. So you're
crazy move though. So definitely make sure you got your stop and then don't get married to this position and all of a sudden find it at $14 get on you in 3 months. This isn't one I'm putting in my long-term invest portfolio. This is for a trade. If I was buying it today, which I might, I would stop out below $18.
Okay. All right. Here we are. S&P's a little bit of weakness here. I don't know if it was the balances seem kind of mixed here, but we are now trading up only 250 here at 54.75. Your pre-market low is 50 and a quarter. Your close on Friday was 52 and a quarter. That matched your January 29th close. So still give it a little bit of room, 28.50 1/4. No continued downside until we take out that pre-market low, and we're trading just about mid-range.
The only other one of note was they said that Apple's downgrade to sell, which nobody's even paying attention to. Did you find that note, Spencer? It's new.
I've never.
Is it new
no.
state
I
research?
never even heard of them before you mentioned.
No,
them.
I know. I hadn't either, but I saw it on the ratings.
Find it, and I can't.
I was like, I don't know if anybody's got a sell rating. I'm gonna go try to dig a little bit deeper on that too after and take a look and see what that's all about. Just back. Quick 3 minutes back to balances. AT&T showing some life, 206,000 to buy here this morning. It had a nice day, starting to show some life, starting to show a breakout. I've been talking about selling my long-term AT&T investment position for a long time. I'm actually thinking, if this gets up near 34, I think you get some room to the upside. I might get rid of it. So it's the balance I've been looking for. Verizon's been a monster.
Yeah.
I don't know what Verizon is on, but holy cow, this thing is off to the races. Maybe it's all this 5G talk. I don't know what it is, but Verizon is just broken out and is going. So I guess it's dragging, AT&T up with it. So these look good. These look good on a technical basis. So I'm definitely not selling my AT&T position right now. I want to wait till, I see what happens here. But right now, they're looking pretty good.
I remember back in, that was a while ago. We've been up in this handle. You came up to the $55 area. You made 2 monthly highs at 54.77 and 54.75. This is back earlier in the year in January and February. So call 55. You're trading up in the pre-market here. 4 big days in a row. Maybe look for size at the $55 level. And Matt and Beyond, Verizon had some nice coverage in Barron's this weekend as well.
Okay. What else, Barron's? We didn't really talk too much about Barron's. Is there anything else you saw that, I was like, whoa, better check that out?
Is State Street poised to turn a quarter? And you look at...
That's up $1.
Yep. Look at that, Dennis. You going to do some homework on that one today and see if you find any value there? That's one bank stock that has not performed well. So
I probably need to add some banks to my investment portfolio. It's something that I'm very underweight. I've been bearish this for a while. I've talked about the banks being bearish for a while, but I've kind of changed my tune a little bit too, which I did a little while ago when I covered all my shorts. I never got long. And I'm looking at some of these pullbacks in the banks and thinking maybe I should have, nibbled on a few of them long. Like some of the big guns maybe went a little bit too far, but look at some of these smaller companies. Yeah, maybe I could check it out. I don't know much about the fundamentals of State Street. I don't follow it closely, but from a technical basis, above 85, it kind of looks like it's trying to at least buck this downtrend, but it's a pretty ugly downtrend still.
Starbucks also mentioned here. That stock has had a nice comeback as well. I mentioned positively. I don't know if they were talking about dividend stocks, but got to keep an eye out. We're trying to take out yesterday's high in Starbucks, 53.61. Coming back, he had a big gap down day. So you got a gap between 55.01 and 56.34. So you look at your next major resistance level in Starbucks comes in at 55. But this is a little bit slower moving stock. So nice uptrend here for Starbucks. All right. 9 o'clock, Spencer. Dennis, you want to give us your final thoughts, and then we'll have Spencer wrap up.
Tricky day. I like the gold miners on if you can get those things on the cheap here somehow today, maybe flat. But I think they're going to have a good day. I know gold is barely up, but the miners feel like they want to rally. I like the 2-day move here. They had a reversal day on Friday. I like it again. I also like Micron and AMD, which I both said it's for today, and a short-term longs here as well, because I think they bottomed on Friday too. So those are the stocks I'm kind of picking on here today and looking at. I don't really own any of them here yet, but I might be trying to get these on the open.
Okay. I gave you my levels in the SPOOs. I got a very important level here in the crude oil that I want to point out to our traders and investors here. Couple lows. You had, you came down and you made a low at 64.46. And the previous, that was on a couple days ago. Here are your 2 lows. I'm sorry. In the lower 63 handle, there's a double bottom to lean on, 63.93 and 63.85. So as long as that level holds, crude looking to do a little bit of a turnaround. Spencer, you want to wrap up today's show and preview Tuesdays?
Yeah, and tomorrow's show, we're going to be joined by Nick Shaheen as we are every Tuesday. But as far as today's show, if you want to catch our podcast, you should. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play, or just rewatch the show on YouTube. Just a reminder that all the information on our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice, except the part about going to bookstores. We should all go to bookstores more and read more books. That's going to be it for us. Thanks to everyone in our chats on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I hope you join us again on Tuesday.